All right, man. Indiana Fever news, fresh off the press. Sophie Cunningham with a big announcement prior to potentially returning to the Indiana Fever. This is something that we definitely have to pay attention to because Sophie the Trophy, the blonde bomber, 1/3 of Tres Leches, is a key and vital part of this team. And I'm hoping and praying that the bonehead Indiana Fever front office and head coach will make the right moves to secure Caitlin Clark's.
The room abruptly froze as soon as she finished speaking. Sophie Cunningham just announced a significant change in her professional trajectory. Route that can result in complete catastrophe for the Indiana Fever. The fans were anticipating a straightforward news regarding her knee, however. She revealed something shocking regarding her future, implying that her time in a Fever jersey may be coming to an end if the front office fails to awaken. The blonde bomber is no longer only standing by the phone. She's using her abilities to have little to do with a basketball floor and everything to do with her rapidly expanding brand. Officially, the league is on notice, because the Fever's enforcer is now playing an entirely other game, and the stakes have never been greater for Caitlin Clark's.
That the bonehead Indiana Fever front office and head coach will make the right moves to secure Caitlin Clark's right teammates. It's a big deal, y'all. We got to break this thing down, man. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, and hype the video. As always, it would be greatly appreciated if you hype the video. Let's get into things. So, off season is underway. Moves have to be made. Decisions have to be made. And we don't need people distracted like I see Stephanie White is clearly distracted with side.
For the Indiana faithful, the timing of this disclosure could not be more deliberate or stressful. Sophie is now one of the most sought-after free agents on the market after her one-year, $100,000 contract officially expired. She eventually regained her rhythm in Indiana after 6 years with the Phoenix Mercury, but the 2025 season ended. Was an actual nightmare. Now that the WNBA has reached a new collective bargaining agreement, the league's entire financial system has been completely overturned. Sophie finds herself at a fork in the road, where her success off the court is beginning to match her influence on the court. She is aware of her value and ensuring that the Fever front office is aware of it as well before the next official start of the free agency period.
Decisions have to be made, and we don't need people distracted like I see Stephanie White is clearly distracted with side quests and side gigs right now. I don't like it, but hey, it is what it is. Sophie Cunningham had a big time announcement. Let's take a look at it. Sophie Cunningham announces career news before 8th WNBA season, all right? Here it says, Sophie Cunningham of the Indiana Fever had a disappointing 2025 WNBA season, which ended with a semifinal loss to the Las Vegas Aces.
To see why this news is so unexpected, we must consider the harsh truth of how her previous season concluded. Sophie was shooting a deadly 47% from the field and averaged close to 9 points and 4 rebounds. Up until that terrible moment against the Connecticut, she was the rotation's glue. In addition to ending her 7th WNBA season, an MCL tear tore the heart out of a Fever team that was at last discovering its DNA for championships. Due to Caitlin Clark's physical hole and that injury, the team had to watch the postseason from the sidelines. A year that had so much potential ended disappointingly, leaving a question unanswered regarding Sophie's potential to become an explosive talent in the future.
They 1,000% would have won that WNBA title last season. I believe they would have, but hey, it is what it is. Here it says, Cunningham spent their first 6 seasons with the Phoenix Mercury before the Fever acquired her last offseason via trade. The former Missouri guard found success in Indiana, averaging 8.6 points per game on 47% shooting, 3.5 rebounds, 1.2 assists per game. But in August, Cunningham suffered a torn MCL, which ended her 7th WNBA season. And I believe that came against the Connecticut Sun, where they play dirty.
The seriousness with which she plays the game has muddled the story surrounding her comeback. There's a reason Sophie Cunningham is known as Sophie the Trophy, but she's also the unchallenged bodyguard for the mainstay of the franchise when the Connecticut Sun chose to deceitfully ambush Caitlin. Sophie was the one who entered the line of fire. Clark, she defended her teammate against the lowdown without hesitation. Strategies of a squad that appeared intent on hurting the rookie sensation. Because of their devotion, the fans adore her, but it's also the reason her most recent statement seems like such a change in direction. Does she still prioritize being the strength on the court, or has she turned her attention to the enormous potential in the business world?
Yes, Cunningham suffered a torn MCL, which ended her 7th WNBA season. And I believe that came against the Connecticut Sun, where they play dirty. They're a bunch of low down, dirty players over there. We already know how they give it up. Okay, they ambushed and attacked Caitlin Clark. Sophie Cunningham stepped in, and that is part of the reason why we love her. And then it just so happens that at Connecticut, another dirty play happens from Bria Hartley, and it ends Sophie Cunningham's, I believe it was versus them, where her season got injured. But I know that's when Caitlin Clark's groin got hurt again as well.
The shocking revelation that has everyone talking is about a significant collaboration that demonstrates Sophie is becoming a worldwide brand. She recently revealed a high-profile partnership between her popular show, Show Me Something, and the massive hotel chain Marriott Bonvoy. This is a 4-episode series, not just a little social media shout-out. Live from the Bracket is a limited series, starting in the midst of the March Madness frenzy. Sophie is positioned as a media powerhouse by this endeavor. Recently, she was seen in the center of New York City, taking over the streets to discuss college. The Fever front office is obviously scratching their heads up. Sophie is out here fastening the bag in a huge
or a massive pay raise when free agency begins next month. That's definitely something you got to pay attention to, because Sophie Cunningham is going to get a baggy bag from somewhere, and I'm hoping nobody gets out of their mind and offers her something crazy that is not even logical for the Indiana Fever to pay. And hopefully the Indiana Fever can retain Sophie Cunningham and bring her back to play with Caitlin Clark, okay? Here it says, on Thursday, Cunningham had news to share. She announced a partnership between her podcast, Show Me Something, and Marriott Bonvoy. Okay, the Fever star will host.
This step into the spotlight in Manhattan was a well-thought-out masterclass in personal branding. Sophie was observed interacting with enthusiasts about their March Madness brackets and travel routines, demonstrating her charm that extends well beyond the basketball arena. She is focusing on travel and lifestyle, which is very different from the hard physical struggles she faces on the hardwood of the WNBA. She is demonstrating her worth by partnering with a company the size of Marriott. Is more than just her three-point percent. She has a personality that others want to emulate, which gives her amazing leverage. There are many other teams and companies willing to support her if Indiana doesn't provide her a substantial compensation increase. Truck for her.
Free agents are going to see Sophie Cunningham's off-the-floor success, which a large part of it is because of Caitlin Clark and her association. Let's be clear here. When she defended Caitlin Clark and attacked J.C. Sheldon in retaliation, okay, she jumped up to 1 million followers so fast. A bunch of free agents are going to see her success off the floor, and they're going to want the same for themselves. But we have to be sure, which is why I need this front office focused and paying attention, because we got to make sure these people are coming with the correct intentions.
When you take into account the Caitlin Clark effect, the financial ramifications of this are astounding. Since Sophie volunteered to defend the rookie sensation, has amassed over 1 million social media followers after taking on the league's villains. She has become a marketing magnet because of her exceptional reach as a role player. Playing next to Caitlin is a quick route to off-court success, and other free agents are observing this success with ravenous eyes. But this puts the Fever at danger. They require players who have the proper motivations, not simply individuals hoping to utilize the squad as a platform for their side gigs. The front desk must differentiate between opportunistic and genuine teammates.
To be sure, which is why I need this front office focused and paying attention, because we got to make sure these people are coming with the correct intentions. Unlike Dawana, the scammer Bonner, who hustled the team, unlike Natasha Howard, who wanted to come and be MVP and all of this stuff. We need people that are coming. We know you're going to reap some benefits. You're going to gain popularity. You're probably going to make some extra off the court money, etc. We need to make sure you are here for the right reasons, though. And I feel like the front office has to do a better job of that. Make no mistake about it. Sophie Cunningham.
Fans are becoming increasingly worried about the Indiana front administration and head coach Stephanie. During this crucial offseason, White is failing miserably. Sophie is out here creating a media empire. The team's leadership appears preoccupied with their own side projects Stephanie White has been connected to a number of other performances and parts that have supporters questioning whether she really has her sights set on the 2026 season. Last year, we witnessed how the club lost the playoffs due to a lack of concentration and dubious decision-making. If the front office and coach aren't dedicated to finding the best players to surround Caitlin Clark, they run the danger of squandering a generational talent's prime years. Right now, the level of distraction is at an all-time high. The league's physical component is only becoming more rigorous, and Sophie's enforcement function is more precious than before. Everyone is aware of Bria Hartley's dirty play, which added to the dramatic season finale. Every night, rookies like Caitlin are targeted in the league, which has turned into a shark tank. Without a seasoned veteran such as Sophie, it would be easy to bully the Fever out of contention in order to offer that bodily protection Sophie has been outspoken about her goals from the start, and she hasn't backed down from the truth. She acknowledged that a portion of the goal of joining Indiana was to develop Caitlin Clark and be near the enthusiasm surrounding her own brand. However, Sophie's play actually supported her desire for recognition, in contrast to some other players. She put her body on the line, passed the ball, and played inside the system until her MCL actually gave out. When free agency opens, the front office must be concentrated and prepared to take action. We cannot repeat the past errors in which the team chose players who didn't mesh well with the system or culture. The supporters are expecting perfection, and they are insisting that the squad keep the key players who have demonstrated a willingness to fight. Sophie Cunningham has contributed, developed her brand, helped her teammates, and persevered through a difficult harm.it is now the organization's responsibility to ensure the shocking revelation of her collaboration is only the start. When she signs the paperwork to go back, that will be the real news. The discussion around her tactical value to the squad is frequently overshadowed by her off-court achievements. As a floor spacer, she permits Caitlin Clark has the space to work her magic. In the absence of her perimeter threat, fortifications may crumble on the paint and make the stars of the Fever uncomfortable. Her ability to make clutch shots and her shooting percentage are what drives the Indiana offense. Anyone who wants to see this must accept her return. Win a championship as a team. A 47% shooter who is also the hardest person on the court cannot simply be replaced. To keep the blonde bomber in town, the Fever must do everything in its power. In the end, Sophie Cunningham is demonstrating the world in the current period of women's athletics. She is not awaiting approval. She's grabbing the limelight and racing with it to become a star, whether she's chatting hoops in the middle of Times Square or she is moving purposefully in the gym as she rehabilitates her MCL. The shocking revelation regarding her podcast and the Marriott deal is evidence of her vision. She has made the shift from a role player with success to a household name. The Indiana Fever now have the advantage. They must choose whether they are prepared to make an investment in a celebrity who, before anyone else, contributes both exceptional talent and significant cultural influence.